Take him out.
Had to get it.
It's the last one. Well, not really the last one. We'll see. Maybe it's the last one. Is it the last one? What is today? The 24th. Good Lord. With that, what's up, everyone? A warm welcome back to SonicFlare. I am, as you can tell, your lovable host. I dressed up nicely today because it's Christmas Eve. Got my little Santa tie going. You like that, don't you? And, we're going to be ringing out almost a crazy, crazy year for us. To recap real quick, if you're new to the channel, and you haven't heard the backstory in a while, moved to Europe, Hungary last year for a great career opportunity that ended up getting basically upended because of the massive language barrier we had. Most of Eastern Europe, in fact, probably all of Eastern Europe speaks pretty good English. Hungary does not. So we had a very hard time and decided that, can't make this work. Going back to the USA. We landed in Maine. That was in June. Brand new house, lovely location. And, you figured that things would get on a roll. Studio A construction would begin right away, etc., etc. And, of course, it didn't. Because good contractors are very hard to come by here. And when you grab one, hold on to them because you're probably not going to find another one of equal quality and resources anytime soon. So, with that said, the good news is that the painters finished, or our painter finished painting the inside of the house mid last week. And we thought this week, man, Christmas is coming. We're going to get all in a roll and everything's going to be nice and dandy and set up. And that didn't happen because the lovely Florida storm that started out in Florida, hence the Florida storm, hit central Maine. We're about 40 miles east of the coast. West of the coast. Pretty damn hard. 75, 80 mile an hour winds, blew out trees everywhere, power lines gone. We were without power for literally 5 days, which is kind of crazy. Fortunately, we were able to get a generator, and so we've been on the up and up the last couple of days. But yeah, so much for getting the house ready. But anyway, the good news is Studio A is in fact going to be constructed over the next 2 months, I would say. Contractor claims it's going to be about a month, but you know what? Let's give it 2 months, and then all of this is going to be moving into Studio A, and this is going to get converted into a loving and great guest room for future stars and guests of SonicFlare. Perhaps even you shall be invited. Drop me a line. You never know. So, what's in store for the penultimate video for 2023? Well, of course, if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have figured that this would definitely include all kinds of goodies and toys, not just music. But of course that didn't happen because for the most part, I really didn't have HiFi to set up and anything of that nature. And so, not much in the way of HiFi. We're starting on that. Got a couple of amps that came in. Got a couple of other cool things that are coming in. We're going to be doing an unboxing video on 2 massive turntables. That's coming in the new year. But anyway, without further ado, let's kick it in with, hold your horses, CDs, not records, all right? Because we love CDs here too. So let's get the stash going. All right, what do we got? First up, Supertramp. Their 10th album came out in '97. Absolutely fantastic. Some people say that it's not quite as great as their glory days, but, I think it's a phenomenal jazzy album. Begs to be reissued on vinyl. I don't know. I don't know why no one's doing it. Maybe they can't get the rights. Anyway, Next up, this is a new find for me in 2023. And by the way, most of these things are not necessarily records or CDs that came out in 2023. It's just stuff that I found in 2023. Great Isaac Hayes 4 LP, 4 CD collection. Essentially, it's him being a singer-songwriter, and of course, there's all his sort of greatest hits in there. Fantastic. You can still get these on eBay fairly cheap. We get on to the Bill Holman, Think, Duke Ellington, maybe even bigger sound. Absolutely fantastic CD. There is an LP out on this, very hard to find, but this is something I highly recommend. Bill Holman, In a Jazz Orbit. Can't go wrong with Beverly Kenny. Died entirely too young. Unfortunately, she committed suicide at the age of 28. But great Decca repertoire. This is a double CD. Absolutely fantastic. Ooh, the great Art Pepper, Surfside. Fantastic. And of course, I'm going to list these albums out in the bottom so you guys can check them out. We go on to the wonderful Helen Merrill, In Tokyo, live. This has to be one of the best sounding live classic jazz CDs that I have. I'm hunting the LP, but that's hard to find. In the meantime, this is absolutely stunning. Ooh, the great João Donato, Som 3 show. Great Brazilian jazz, funky, soulful, got rhythm, jive, everything. I mean, it's freaking awesome. Killer music. We move over to a little different sound, film music and scores and soundtracks. And of course, the great Arthur Fiedler. People give this guy a hard time because he's not, the iconoclastic conductor as all of the other great Americans, Bernstein, Fritz Reiner, etc. But let me tell you something. This guy probably single-handedly did more for popularizing classical music in the United States than any of the others combined, right? So Arthur Fiedler, this is wonderful Western-themed Disney stuff. Massive soundstage, absolutely great to test your hi-fi with. Highly recommended, and I see all this glare. Look at all that glare. Ooh, glare. Anyway, I'll try to hold it this way. Fantastic stuff. Check it out. Ooh! Because I'm such a great Trekkie. This is a must-have for any Trek fan. Let me tell you something. This is remastered from the original 24-track tapes. This was recorded in L.A. Royce Hall, I think? I may be mistaken. Absolutely fantastic. 3 discs. Dude, it'll never sound any better. And my favorite Star Trek movie of all Star Trek movies is, in fact, the very first one. So it picked up on the theme of Star Wars and all that stuff. And, of course, the original Star Trek show that ran for 2 seasons. And, of course, all the original cast members are in here. But anyway, check this out. This is really good stuff. And that's it for CDs. And that's it. Just kidding. We're just getting started. Because now we're moving into records. More new records. All right. What are we going to start with? I would recommend we start with the classical genre. La variété classique. So, this is lovely electric recording company. Much has been said about it. And this is, I don't even remember when this came out. Maybe last year? Anyway, I unboxed it this year, put it this way. The great Richard Strauss, 4 last songs, 4 letzte Lieder, with George Sell conducting, and the wonderful soprano Elisabeth Schwarzkopf singing her lungs out. Man, this is, let me tell you something, this is soul food. It soothes the soul. It's beautiful to listen to. Cut on their all tube stereo cutting lathe they have. Absolutely gorgeous. If it's going to be hard to find this unless you want to spend big bucks, but if you can find an original, that's probably going to be even more expensive. Maybe there's a second or third pressing. I strongly recommend you get this. Absolutely beautiful. Next up, on the classical side, we have, of course, the original series from Deutsche Grammophon. Enough ink has been spilled on that, and gigabytes and terabytes and petabytes of videos posted. If you haven't heard about this series yet, and you're even inkling to get into classical music, the Deutsche Grammophon catalog is perhaps, next to RCA, Decca, and London and the London four-phase stuff, which sounds sort of similar in this era, 70s. Phenomenal to get into. What they've done, this is Debussy with the great Claudio Abbado. Gosh, look how young he was. Anyway, what they've done with these tapes and what they've been able to take out and recreate essentially with these 4-track tapes that they have is nothing short of stunning. Absolutely phenomenal success. I strongly recommend you check this out, even if you're not a Debussy fan or a Claudio Abbado fan. There's, I think, a dozen titles out now. There's a couple more, obviously a bunch more coming in the years to come, but check this out. This is phenomenal. Let's get into jazz. Yaz. Ooh, let's start with, so these are used records that I got. The great, wonderful Mort Herbert, an attorney, believe it or not, played jazz bass for fun with the Louis Armstrong All-Stars Orchestra. This was the only album that he actually led. There's Sahib Shihab on here, Joe Wilder, Bobby Jasper, Dick Katz on piano, Kenny Clark on drums. This is killer music, kind of like a late night jazz vibe, moody, bluesy, fantastic. Check it out. eBay, right? Or Discogs. Ha! This is a fantastic one that I picked up from one of my curators. Lionel Hampton, live in Paris. Believe it or not, I think this is like a $5 record, $10 record on Discogs or the Bay. Absolutely stunning. Mono. He's playing the vibes like a madman. And my friend and I were listening to this, and we were just like, holy shit, dude. Like, literally, he is in your freaking room. I mean, it sounds cliched. It's been overused a million times by everyone, including myself, of course. But in this case, it really is true. It's freaking awesome. So, check it out. Next up. Ooh, this is a great one. Great West Coast jazz. The great Shelly Man. Red Mitchell, Andre Previn. Bells are ringing. This is a second press. Phenomenal. Again, easy listening West Coast jazz. If you want to get into jazz, a great album to get started with. Then we get into Mon Dieu, Lonnie Liston Smith. Fantastic. 70s jazz, soul, funk. This is when all these great jazz guys were getting into that sort of soul funk era. And what a phenomenal album, man. It's kicking. It's got punch. It's got space. Dude, this is absolutely killer and not expensive. Maybe it'll be expensive after this video. We'll see. Next up, okay, now we're getting into the reissues. You can't go wrong with Sam Records. The great Fred. Kudos to Fred. Let me give him a shout out here. One-man show, doing all the records, mastering. Well, obviously he's not doing the mastering. Kevin Gray does most of it. But compiling the history, getting the tapes, this, that, and the other. One-man show. He's got another job that he's doing. Give him credit. And don't get on his butt if he doesn't ship you the records right away. This is absolutely stunning. This is on his Artisan series. Handmade covers, hand-printed covers, and all that. The great Big Bill Brunzi. 51 and 52, invited to play in Paris. Just what probably of all the blues guys, he was, I think, the last big one that we had. Not that there aren't any great blues guys around today, but of the classical era, let's call it that, the original, the OG, Big Bill Brunzi, man. This is killer, and it's 45 RPM. It's mono. Kevin Gray. They're still available, which is kind of shocking. Came out, I don't know when, maybe a year ago or so, earlier this year, I forgot. This is just, if you're into blues, this is just stunning. Him and his guitar, and you close your eyes and he's performing right there in front of you. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Must have. Must have. I insist. Ooh, the guys from Newland. I like them. Good stuff. Absolutely killer. This is Kenny Dorham, of course. Also cut by Kevin Gray with Sonny Rollins. Phenomenal album. I love the fact that Newland is reissuing stuff that's not really been on the pipeline of reissues for other companies, kind of like what Impex is doing, what Intervention Records is doing, and Sam Records, for example. So, good stuff. Highly recommend the Newland stuff. And they're coming out with the Mingus box set, 4 LPs. You should get that if you're not already on the list. What else do we have? Ooh, I think there's a couple more. Ha! Of course. Well, here's the big controversial one. Super Sense Archival Tape Edition. Nina Simone, I Put a Spell on You. So this is, if you haven't seen my video on Super Sense, I did a factory tour, so to speak. Well, a tour of their facilities and recording studio where they cut lacquers. This is one of 100 that they cut. It's from a copy of the master tape. And it's just probably, not probably, unless short of having the tape, this is going to be the closest you're going to get to listening to the tape. Absolutely phenomenal. Sounds incredible. And I highly recommend you check them out. They're not cheap. They're sort of like in that ERC ballpark. But what you get for it, the bespokeness of the creation, and how they're making it, all hand printed, hand paper, or put together by hand. Watch the video. You'll see it. Absolutely stunning stuff. I think they still have this. Absolutely phenomenal record. And then we have, we can't go out without a bang, right? So we have to put up, I just got this yesterday. Full transparency. I have the crystal disc of this. Not the CD, not the gold CD, not some SHM CD. I have the crystal disc. Made in Japan by hand. Limited to 100 discs. Made out of actual glass substrate. Famous Blue Raincoat. This is the one step. And gorgeous packaging. There's going to be an actual comparison shootout between this and the crystal disc. But let me tell you something. We were listening to this last night from start to finish. And yes, I know all the cliches about Famous Blue Raincoat, audiophile, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I don't play it often enough for it to get on my nerves, which is why I like it. And of course, it's if you're not familiar with it, she covers all of the great Leonard Cohen. Gosh, I can't believe I escaped me for a second. Leonard Cohen tracks. Famous Blue Raincoat. This is incredible. 3 discs, 45 RPM. Get it before it's gone. And last but not least, I got to give a shout out to MoFi. They've been on the shit list. That whole DSD thing, I never opined about it because you guys all did and so many channels did. And I didn't want to just pile up on top of it, kick a dead horse even more. Let's just say that was BS. But time goes on, right? Got to keep punching. Keep punching. Sylvester Stallone. So, Mobile Fidelity. Kudos to you guys. You finally did it. You finally released what you've been teasing us with for all these years. First album of Van Halen. Da-da-da-da. Here it is. I got to tell you, this is fantastic. I absolutely love it. The clarity is fantastic. The bass, it's explosive. It's got jam. It's got rhythm. It's got punch. It's got guts. And by the way, best of all, well, not best of all. The best of all is the sound in the record. And it's not like I'm a great Van Halen fan, right? I just love 3-4 of their albums. 1985, the first one, I think the third one. And yeah, so it's not like I'm a big fan, but dude, this is great stuff, right? And best of all, they finally did it. They got rid of those stupid cases that you have to put the records in and out of, which are such a pain in the ass. And the material is it attracts grease and dirt so quickly. So they finally did it, and it's just a slip case. Thank you, Mobile Fidelity. Great job, Craig Wunderlich and the rest of the team. This is a knockout. Get it. It's awesome. And, ladies and gentlemen, that completes this session. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. There's going to be one more video coming, and then that's it. It's 2024. Can you believe that? So, with that, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate you guys. Drop your comments below. What was your favorite album of this year? Or any other year for that matter. Thanks for standing in. Where's the script writer? He's fired. Thanks for hanging in there and being part of my growing community and channel. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you. We'll see you guys soon. Merry Christmas. Ciao.